So, funny thing is that I filmed this video about 3 to 4 times now, and the last time I filmed it, it was going really good. But then my brother called me and walked into the room, and it just completely shattered the flow of the video. So, we're gonna try this again. Hello, everybody. Welcome back, and if you're new to this channel, my name is Joel. If you haven't seen the introduction video already, please go ahead and do so. It will tell you the foundation of what this channel aspires to be, and also just sharing the goals that I have for myself within this platform. Essentially, today's topic, what we're going to talk about is weight loss. Me personally, I have been on a weight loss journey since freshman year. Admittedly, I had reached my goal at one point, but this past year, 2020, has been very difficult for all of us, so I slipped off 100%. Now, in high school, though, the heaviest I ever was 190 pounds. I was a pretty heavy set kid, and unfortunately, I don't have a picture of that time. I probably have family photos, but me personally, I just never wanted to be taken a picture of because of how, in my eyes, I looked horrible. And that's the reason why I don't have any pictures personally on my phone or with any of my clouds or things like that. And you will see throughout the duration of this video photos that appear on the screen of me throughout the years. The first being me in middle school, where it all began. In terms of fitness, I had picked up doing P90X that year in middle school, and reason why was because there was a gym test that we would do called the Pacer test, and I would never get a high score on it. I would always land on 30, and then the dudes that were athletic would be getting like 70, 60. The highest I ever ended up getting, thanks to P90X, was I think around 50 or above. And so I had done P90X, so I was really focused on like cardio and intensity training. That following year into high school, though, I had begun to struggle with my weight. I actually did freshman football and wrestling. However, towards the beginning of my wrestling season, I had my appendix removed, which ultimately just ruled me out for the season. And ever since I had that appendix removed, I had went on to gain from, I believe, December 2014 to the end of that school year, which is about June 2015, I gained over 40 to 50 pounds. I went from 140 something pounds to 190 pounds, which for me was truly devastating. I don't think I realized it until I had tried to put on some old clothes that no longer fit, and I needed to start buying size L's instead of M's or even smalls, which I had always been accustomed to. And so just being overweight, which is something I wanted to kind of focus on, is my time within that period. It was very sad going into high school, going into my sophomore, junior, and up to my senior year, just being overweight. I didn't have any confidence. I didn't feel like I could approach anybody besides the friends that I had been with since elementary school. I felt very closed. I felt very shy. I was scared. I was embarrassed because high school is a huge like social scene party. Like your appearance almost practically sets the standard whether you're cool or not, or you hang out with the cool kids or you just sit on the side. Now, admittedly, it also depends on the personality, and at that point in time, I was not willing to have a personality. I had been in such a closed mindset. I had dealt with depression because of how overweight I was. I was very sad. I never realized why I had been overweight and what ultimately caused it. And unfortunately, it was discovered to be that I had a medical reason for it, which I will share here. And I had hypothyroidism. And so I encourage any of you who feel like you're at a point that something's wrong with your weight and you can't control it no matter what you do, speak to a doctor or a nutritionist. It's better to know than not to know. And so with that being said, Throughout the year of sophomore and junior, I had worked out. I tried working out so hard, but I would never see any result from it. And so I just kept getting frustrated with myself every single day that, like, in high school at the time, like, I couldn't talk to any girls. I didn't feel comfortable talking to any girls. I had no confidence to try to make any new friends other than the ones that I already had. I really just felt embarrassed throughout those whole first 3 years of high school. I felt embarrassed, sad, depressed. I literally, I just said what I said a few minutes prior. And it ultimately came down to a day where I sat down in this very room that I'm in right now. Probably like right, you can't see my bed yet, but just right in this area here. And I cried. I cried for probably 5 to 10 minutes. I locked the room. I put on some music and I sat down on my bed thinking, like, why me? What did I do? I never really tried to take the blame for myself until I had realized that if I want to change my life and the way I look at myself in the mirror, it needs to come from within. And it took a lot of soul searching. It wasn't just one day. It was a year, like a year to 2 years until I got to my ultimate goal. And the physical, emotional, and mental toll that weight loss can have on you is just, I don't think it's spoken about enough. For the most part, when people share their weight loss stories, they just show you the beginning to the end and you congratulate them and it's like, good job. They tell you a couple things about what they did. Occasionally they share to you how they felt, but even to this day, and especially this past year, I would have flashbacks or just moments of a traumatic feeling that if I kept gaining weight, I would spiral back into a negative state of mind, which in a sense has to deal with some other things that are going on. But for me to neglect my health in general, as I have actually within this past year, and in that period of time was really what set me to change my life. Weight loss can be a life-changing moment. It's a game changer. It does wonders. So I really encourage any of you who wish to set out on that journey to find your reason why you want to do it. For me, it was because I was tired of waking up every morning, getting dressed, looking in the mirror, seeing a double chin, seeing my chest completely saggy. Somehow I didn't have an extreme big belly, but I was long on the sides. My jeans were like size 36, and I just hated getting in that same routine every day until one day I ultimately just told myself, stop. I have the power. If you believe in yourself, you can do anything you want. And I know a lot of people say that, but it is true. You're your biggest enemy. The person who will make all the changes in your life is you, and that's the best investment you will ever make is in you. And we'll get into more of the photos that are about to appear on the screen. The first picture I took shirtless was one of the first few weeks that I told myself I'm going to use pictures to track my progress and see how this journey ends up. And it ultimately did end up very well because I have something to look back on. But from that picture that was taken, I believe was my junior year, and the ones that follow basically go from junior year up to senior year, and then freshman college year to where I am today. And in each picture, it just shows you the different stage of where I was at. The biggest jump you'll see, I believe, is from junior year to senior year. In my junior year, I was pushing about 170 pounds, and by the beginning of senior year, I came in at like 148, give or take, 10 pounds between 140 to 150. And just once you get to a point in your weight loss journey, you feel incredible. It is, and I want to look at the camera for this, but it changes your life. for me, it gave me a newfound confidence. It it allowed me to feel a way that I had never felt before. I felt I was alive for the first time, and that I had achieved something that I could show. And I from that day that I had reached my goal, I knew that I was on a path to accomplish everything I wanted to do in my life, which fortunately I still have that privilege and I am at that point in my life again today. But my senior year was 100% a different year for me. It was one of my beginning of my many breakout years to follow. But albeit through my senior year, this goes on to my fitness career in general. From senior year to freshman year of my first semester at community college, I had gotten a gym membership, so I hit the gym hard, as you'll see in the photos. Gym lockers are behind me, and like I'm flexing in a way like this, and my arms just look they kind of exploded, and I never truly appreciated that. And something that I will always encourage with you guys is just take a moment to self-reflect and appreciate whether or not you're in a good spot in your life or you're in a bad spot. Just appreciate what you have and take a moment to self-reflect and identify anything you need to change. It's something I do on a fairly frequent basis, and it helps me a lot to stay focused on the goal and the bigger picture, because so many of us just tend to lose track of time, and before we know it, I'm 20 now, but before I know it, I'm going to be 30, and I want to make sure that I have done everything in my power to continue my fitness journey, but just all my aspirations in life, which is why I'm here today on the YouTube channel. And so from my time as a first semester guy in community college, I had begun to get a social life. I was working at the company I still work at now, Target, and it was a different time in my life. I was able to experience a lot of things that I never did before, and I had a newfound freedom, and I had the confidence to feel motivated to try everything that I felt like I wanted to try at that time. I had begun having more friends at work, talked to some old friends at that point too. I had a car. I'm kind of gonna go on a list of things that I had at that time. Like, I still have a car. I had a good job. I was in school. I didn't take a break or anything, but the months that follow that were, for me personally, these last 2 years have been some of the hardest years in my life, just having to adjust to being an adult. And which brings me to my fitness journey today. After you will see the photo from the export lockers, the gym that I go to. Here's a picture where I look, in my opinion, I look a whole lot skinnier than the first two photos of the summer. Because of my different priorities, I had stopped going to the gym and I lost a lot of the size I once had, until ultimately, we'll fast forward through all those photos, you'll see where I was at 3 weeks ago, actually May 23rd to be exact, 3 days before my birthday. I had realized that I let myself go way too much. I lost focus of all the goals that I had, and I was starting to fall back into that state of, I don't want to say I was depressed, but I definitely did not have any urge or motivation to set out to achieve everything that I was hoping to do post high school. And since May 23rd to this day, I have committed myself again to embarking on that fitness journey that I once was on. And in a way, it's also a weight loss journey. So on May 23rd, I weighed 168 pounds, and that was the heaviest I had been post high school. I gained a whole 20 pounds within the last 2 years. And today, it's about 3 weeks since that day, and I actually stand at 158 pounds, and you'll see the difference in the photos. But if you set yourself on a mindset to achieve what you want, it can happen really fast. And that's what I'm focused on. That's one of the many things I'm focused on now, alongside this channel and other goals that I have at within work and my education and family, is that I want to embark on this journey and I want to share it with you guys, and I hope that we can all embark on this journey together and create a positive community where we all push each other to do what we set out to do, whether it's fitness, life, career, education, family, whatever floats your boat. I would like to be able to hopefully inspire and touch your lives in a metaphorical sense, to push you towards your goals. And as we wrap up this video, I know I more so talked about how it was for me emotionally, physically, and mentally throughout. Mentally, losing weight was very tiring. It was challenging, but I'm glad that I did it and that I'm still doing that today. But there are certain parts that I didn't touch about like personal things that I went through, fitness and nutrition, and exactly what I was doing, which I'll be happy to touch upon if you guys would like to hear that. But for where we are now, I believe this will be the end of the video. I thank you for your time, and I hope that you find it within yourself to do whatever you want to do. But if you are all in with me and all in with yourself, go ahead and drop a subscribe. I appreciate your time. Thank you.